The next question I want to ask you, Tunde, because like I promised, we don't want this thing to stretch too far. And I know you have already mentioned some of them, but I want you to give us actionable tips to young people because of the kind of background I grew up in. When you grow up in poverty and you still have people after 18 years giving excuses why they are not doing well. Let me stretch it a bit, not 18. People who are 21, adults who keep complaining that the reason why they are not doing well in life is because of their background. I grew up in poverty. We did not have anything. My parents didn't have anything. They didn't help me. And at 21, you are still telling that story. Sometimes when I talk, people say I'm too blunt. I want to hear from you. As a young person, what tips do you have for young people who keep blaming? They blame every other person apart from looking inwards to say, what more can I do to make myself better?
First thing I love to say, thank you for asking that brilliant question. First thing I love to say is that purpose is never convenient, all right? Your life is in your hands. I want everybody to type that. Your life is in your hands. All right. You have the ability to make or mar your life. It's dependent on you. The truth is, we are a product of inherited statistics. I like to put it this way: you may be a product of your biology, but you do not have to remain the victim of your biology. Meaning that as a product of inherited statistics, you may be starting from minus to 100. Why some people are starting from 0 to 100? But because our fight is different. Dr. Mercy's story is not my story. We started with silver spoon, then it turned to bronze spoon, from there to wooden spoon, to no spoon, then back to silver spoon. It was a bit roller coaster for us. That's why I'm a bit of polish, Paco, polish. I don't know. Life has stretched
God, that is so funny.
Life has really stretched me. If it's rich kid, I'm there. If it is poor kid, everything. So your life is really in your hands. No, that's number one thing I need you to know, that no one is responsible for you after age 18. You are now a grown adult. There are things you can pick, lessons you can pick, skills you can embrace. That's one part I really love you to understand, that your life is your. Number two, fight entitlement. Fight entitlement. Nobody is responsible, once again, for you. Don't start feeling entitled that your parents have to do everything for you. I mentioned to you, I had to look for money for flights. I had to pay for my accommodation when I got to Abuja. I had to sort everything myself. Fight every sense or reasoning of entitlement that, oh, someone is supposed to help you. Your big uncle is supposed to help you. You too, you'll soon turn to big uncle that everybody is depending on. Right now, fight entitlement. Another important point I think you should do is become valuable. Become valuable. And the thing is, value is a universal currency. Before this chat, a friend of mine was reaching out to me from El Salvador for a training. Why? Because value is a universal currency. People reach out to me in different countries because of value. Value is a universal currency. Value helps you in the season of transitioning, because every time in life you have to transition. We transited from COVID year to non-COVID year. Now look at, this is after COVID year. They call it the post-COVID. And there is a pre-COVID. We keep transitioning, but one thing that will stand you out is value. During COVID year, guess what? That's like the time I would say I really unleashed, I don't want to say beasts, but the best in me. I unleashed the best in me during COVID year. I launched my book, Don't Waste Your Waiting. Immediately after Don't Waste Your Waiting, I launched my book, Tranquil, the Mental Health Dimension, which is arguably the first book, comprehensive book on mental health in the world. Arguably, you can check for it.
Wow.
Arguably, it's because I've been invited from different schools, even in Canada, to discuss my book and all that. And that's during COVID year, because I chose value. And that's one thing I always tell people. Money is easy to come by. You chase value, money will come automatically. So that's one thing you should also learn to do. Number 4 will be relationships. Relationships. relationships in terms of mentorship, in terms of people with aligned values with you. So in terms of mentorship, it doesn't have to be someone older than you in terms of mentorship for transitioning. Okay. For example, if Oyin Consular Mirror on this call, I've traveled to Canada before and I'm trying to go to Canada, why should I start asking someone who is older? I can just ask Oyin Consular Mirror, please kindly help me with the highlights, the template that you follow to transit into Canada, and that will just work. All right, that's one thing we should also learn to do. Learn to ask quality questions. So don't go into mentorship for what you have to gain from them. And that's why a lot of people run away from mentoring younger people, because most times you are like a parasite or a pest. You just want to sap from people. You are not thinking of how to also reciprocate. The law of reciprocity says that when people give to you, you also, in your common sense, try to give to them. Don't always be at the receiving end. That's the law of reciprocity. So for mentorship, learn to ask quality questions. Also learn to honor your mentors, be it young or old. Learn to honor them. It will really help you in the phase of transitioning. And then put to use. People like when they see results. Most people don't celebrate process. People celebrate results. People celebrate Dr. Mercy. Her story is interesting now because she's now a prof. She's now doing well. Her story will not make sense if she's still a product of her inherited statistic. If she's still a product of her background. Her product will not be interesting to you, but there is a fresh outcome. Why? Because she changed her belief system. And that leads me to the next point. Learn to change your belief system. To have a particular outcome, you need to change your old belief, because some of you are stuck to your background. You are used to doing things in a local way, in a way that is just beyond, that is not beyond Nigeria. I remember in my final year, I had got audibly like, you are not made for this climate alone. Do you understand? You are global. And I took that personally that, oh, I am global. So the way I carry myself, if you check our Instagram page, you will see that most times we don't celebrate certain holidays in Nigeria. It's because we serve a global community. We are not just saying it. People pay us in dollars. People pay us in CZK. People pay us in different currencies. So we try to celebrate events like IWD, common events, universal events, not just the global, the local events. So that's one thing you need to pay attention to. Change that old belief system. For you to get a new belief system, you don't have to achieve a new outcome. You need to replace the old with a new set of belief. You don't have to get the desired outcome. Back to mentorship, relationship. The people around you, there's a way my friend put it. He said, anytime you fall at the level of the people around you. Because some of us, we are only particular about ourselves. Start at this young age, start investing in relationships. I like to brag about two of my friends, Lukman and Bayo. They are the CEO of Dukia Investments. These are two friends. They were going through transitioning. Thank God for this topic. So Bayo, I met Bayo when Bayo was doing everything, making outfits, trying to sell real estate, trying to do everything. And I spoke to him. I'm like, friend, why not do one thing at a time? Or is there a way you can harmonize all that you do? Little do I know that this advice will make them a global brand right now. They are more like the #1 real estate firm in Lagos State. They are doing greatly in Lagos. And why is that so? Two people met each other, their values aligned, and they were able to create a global brand. The question I want to ask you right now is, your relationships, what are you people really doing? Are you just gisting away? Are you trying to make or create something very unique? E.g., our table talk series that we have in TR Leadership Hub, it's actually people driven. It's the people in the community, my friends, that carry it on the head. Most of the things I do, it's my relationships that make it go global. It's not really by my efforts. It's just my relationship. So I think I would like to stop on the fourth point so that you can also ask more questions and permit people to ask questions if they do have.
Yes, I know that somebody on the call earlier has said that they were transitioning into being a digital analyst. So I am giving you a free, not free, because Tunde is not cheap, but I would pay for a consultation with Tunde on your behalf. Okay,
Wow.
that Tunde can help you navigate that process. Because see, for me, the reason why I'm doing this series is not just for us to come and pass time. The things that, people go like, Mercy, your background does not reflect where you are right now. And there is just so much that has happened. There will probably be another day for that story. I have a TEDx talk that has, a bit of my story. But one of the things, like Tunde is saying, one of the things that helped me with every phase of my life was the fact that I had mentors. I had people who were instrumental to every phase. When Tunde talked about honoring your mentors, I tell you, for those of us who believe the word of God, there's something the Bible says about a man's gift maketh ways for him and brings him before kings, brings him before mighty men. Or now you may ask yourself, I'm still trying to struggle. I'm still trying to find my way. How can I be a blessing to somebody? These mentors are already probably rich. They don't need anything. Sometimes your acts of service takes you from being ordinary to going on top of their list. If the person has a business, why not volunteer one day and say, Ma, sir, please, can I just come in and, just see what your day looks like, help out in any way I can. Because what happens with mentors, most of the time, they're very busy. They don't have all of the time. So if you're going to add any kind of value to them, then you've taken yourself into another list entirely. Then Tunde, you talked about our belief system, and I cannot even, we can have another whole session on dismantling myths and belief systems. How that in growing up, nobody ever believed. Number one, going through it, even getting an education was difficult. But at every point, I remember, just like you, saying, my purpose may not be convenient. Sorry, purpose is never convenient, right? But this thing can work.
Yeah,
this thing can work. I can be everything that God has called me to be. It will not be easy, but I'm ready to do the work. I know for young people, there's a lot of stereotypes now, Tunde, and that's where I'm going to end before I give opportunity for people to ask questions. A lot of stereotypes, young people are lazy. Young people are, they are not focused. Young people are not driven. And I beg to disagree, because I work with a lot of young people. Like I tell you, I teach undergrad classes, I teach graduate classes, and when I meet these young people, I'm just in awe at the things that they're dreaming about, the ideas in their mind. The issue right now is, with all of these ideas, people are looking to transition from one thing to another. And it's not a problem to be experts in 5 different things, right? It's just finding ways to harness all of that. What final tips would you give to young people who are creative, who are not lazy, who really want to move ahead? I know you've mentioned some of them, but one final tip will you give before we give opportunity for questions?
Number one, engage in coaching. Coaching is very powerful. Coaching is someone guiding you into your assignments through questioning approach. So coaching really helped me. I self-coach myself, and I also have a life coach who coach me for everything I do, not just because the truth is our business, we have different services and products. We have a lifestyle brand. We have quite a lot of things. So I meet people who have results, all right? And then I permit them to coach me. A good example is I think it was the last IWG, we invited Coach MM to speak to women in TRLH. And this year we'll be inviting Dr. Messi to speak to different women and young girls in TRLH. And why do we do all these things? We want them to see mirrors, like results. And that's one thing I think everybody should learn to do. Rather than just be in the state of confusion, why not climb on the ladder of a coach who understand the process, who have been through all the odds and the challenges? So that's one thing I would love everyone to embrace. Number one is coaching. Coaching. Number two, expand your mind. Expand your mind. A lot of us don't like to stretch. She mentioned things about laziness and all. Some of us give up too quickly. Our generation still needs to learn to build grit, G-R-I-T, resilience, because we get tired too quickly. Any small convenience, my mental health is shaking. Oh, hey, my mental health is slant. My mental health is this. Please drop excuses when you should really work. I'm not saying your mental health condition is an excuse, but the truth is some of you just use it as an excuse. Learn to expand your mind. Purpose is never convenient. Purpose will stretch you. Purpose will teach you character. Purpose will help you to take nonsense. In this business, I've learned to embrace nonsense. People will talk to you, especially because we are young. I've been to a very big platform before, I think the Central Bank of Nigeria, to facilitate the executive. And the first thing they asked me is, where is your boss? I said, he's on his way. I said, my boss is on his way. And then I started teaching. 20 minutes into this, oh, you are the boss. They mentioned it's a young CEO, but you didn't look like it. I said, okay, thank God. And then guess what? It's 3 years working with them now, like
Wow.
back to back after that time. And they really love me so much. But do you know why? It boils down to value. That means there's something they see that I give to them. And Dr. Messi, everything we are learning on the face of the earth, it has a special way of finding expression when we need them. So it's just like the memory story, the amygdala. We just pull it out from it. Guess what? I'm to talk about mental health, and they were asking me about business continuity. Professors, PhD holders like you, they're asking me about continuity plan, business process, and structure. What do they pay for? Mental health. It has nothing to do with continuity plan, but because I've invested so much during the transition in learning, I was able to accurate answer at that particular time. So some of you, it may not really look like it right now, but I really want you to hold on to what you believe and what God has shown you, and then be invested in pruning yourself, build character, because everything will test you. You'll be surprised at how badly behaved some customers can be, how some people can. Just one mistake of yours can cancel 10,000 goods from some customers. And of course, they have their right to do so. So you all need to pay attention to such details as well. I think one last thing I would like to say in terms of transitioning is to let you know that transitioning will always hurt, H-U-R-T. It will always hurt. It's just like purpose, it is never convenient. Because you know why? You are training your brain to learn a new experience. Let me share a very personal story. When I moved for the first time from home to the hostel, Dr. Messi, I asked, when are we going home? Are we not going to close for the day? And I was crying. Imagine adults crying. I was crying in school then. So we will not go home. I'll miss my bed. So it was a very funny experience because I didn't have any reason to leave home. I've always been home, from home to training, like that and like that. So going to school and they're like, okay, you have to pay for hostel, you have to do this. So it's very strange. So sometimes transitioning out because you are trying to practice a term called neuroplasticity. I will explain that. Neuroplasticity, also called brain plasticity, plastic plasticity, all right? It means the ability of you to invest in your mind to change your brain structure, to accept new experiences. E.g., when you are learning something new, your brain is stretching. And that is what neuroplasticity is all about. Ability to invest in your mind to change your experience, to change your narrative, to exchange old narrative with new narrative. And that's what some of us fail to do. We are just so complacent. We just love convenience. People don't celebrate people who love convenience. You need that stretch, all right?
Yes.
And the ability for your brain to generate new neurons is called neurogenesis. So when you do all of this, try out new language. I learned German at Goethe Institute in Lagos. And guess what? It's really helped me to relate with Germans today. So, and that's the way it works. All this investment may look as though, but imagine I didn't learn most of these loose ends like communication, language, process. How will I be attending to people? And on the global stage, you can flop at individual stage in the level of influence. At the global stage, you can't afford to flop. They would argue. People expect that you should have grown capacity. People expect that you have grown character. So you can't afford to flop. So this is the time where you can try to transit. This is the time where you can learn new experience. So I will leave you with the thought that your mind is able to stretch, invest in it. You are not a furniture, okay? try something new. Thank you, Dr. Mercy.
Thank you so much. So I'll give opportunity for questions. If you have any question, this will be an opportunity for you to ask. You can put the question in the chat, or you can also unmute yourself and ask the question. Tunde, I want to say thank you so much for this conversation. I mean, I was also writing. I was just making notes as you were writing, because you were just throwing, beautiful gems out there. Coaching is important. And sometimes people may give excuses that, okay, while I'm transitioning, I do not have the money to maybe engage a coach. I do not have mentors to help me. I would say that technology has made it easier. If you don't have the money to engage a coach, look for coaches online and at least follow their content. The amount of time that some of us spend on the internet, we can use that same time to, follow the content of people who you admire, people who inspire you, people who you are, you're motivated by their work. You can follow them. And, something I have done, if you have done marketing, I'm sure you've heard things like cold calls. Cold calls. Sometimes somebody I've been following for a few years, I would actually send them a proper email in their inbox. We call it DM, right? I will introduce myself, tell them how long I have been following them, tell them how they have helped me and motivated me, and send it to them. Sometimes some of them respond, sometimes some of them don't. The issue is not for them to respond. The issue is they have been valuable to me. Then when Tunde talked about expanding our mind, it's amazing how sometimes when we move, we think that we do not have the capacity to stretch. It's not true. And I think sometimes it's the what we tell ourselves. We have the capacity.
The beliefs.
Yeah, say that again, Tunde.
I said the limits and beliefs.
Yeah, limiting beliefs.
Yes, the lies we've told ourselves.
The lies that we've told ourselves. There is a certain age you cannot do this, or there is a certain age where this is not possible. We also have to unlearn. When I moved to the US, one of the biggest challenges I had, Tunde, was how to twist my tongue to teach in an American university. I'm not even going to lie to you. So, Tunde, you shouldn't be laughing. It's not funny.
Sorry. Before you proceed, I studied international relations with Anglo-American University. So when it's my turn to make presentation, because they always give us presentation every week, the prof will be like, why are you slow? Can you be fast a bit? Be prompt, speak quickly. You're taking our time. Your 2 minutes is about to elapse. So I can relate to what you're talking about.
But part of what I had to do today was to tell myself, number one, I grew up in Nigeria where we were trained to speak British English. We grew up speaking English.
Yeah.
The accent might be different, but my English is correct and it is clear. And while I was learning to twist my tongue like the Americans will, I started practicing. I didn't say, if they like, let them not hear me. I'm speaking, it's English I'm speaking. They should understand it. No, I had to learn to speak in a way that my American audience will understand. Don't forget, I'm in Kansas. Kansas is not like Houston or Maryland in the US. Kansas is predominantly white. Most of my students, always, all the time. Right now, I have only one Black student in my class, in a class of 32. So so I had to learn. So I had to unlearn that, that Nigerian thing of this is me. They should take me or leave it. No, you cannot take me or leave it. So as simple as some of these things are, we also have to learn to grow in certain aspects. For some of us, it might be, to interact with people. Like you mentioned, when you're invested in yourself, there are some things you also have to learn. When I teach communication skills to my students, I'm telling them how important even the tone of your voice can be. Guess this is the way we talk. We're very loud, Some of those things are things we have to begin to unlearn, the things that we already knew before, then begin to learn. Then you talked about the most important part, which is value. If you don't take anything from this meeting today, let it be that you have to continue to create value for yourself. Value, like Tunde said, is global. Value is not localized. Anywhere you go, if you're valuable, you become people will seek after you. People will seek after you. So Tunde, this is 1:05, my time. One last word before you go. One final tip before you go. What is it that you wish you knew 5 years ago?
I didn't get the question. Sorry, I missed it there.
No, I said, what is it that you wish you knew 5 years ago?
I never thought of this question. I think it would be the fact that I own my life and I have control over, I'm the script writer and I can decide how I want to write the scripts. So if I choose mental health, I can invest all my energy and achieve the result. I'm able to achieve any result. And that has really helped me up until now. It's still working for me. That if I pay attention to achieve it. 3 months ago, I learned UI UX. All right. And despite all the skill sets I've embraced, I still had to learn something different.
What's UI UX?
Yes, okay. It's a branch of design. It's a branch of design. Okay. For web design, front-end design, and back-end design. So that's what UI UX is all about. Okay. So instead of learning Canva, I had to learn something way unique. So that's one thing I would also employ us to do. So don't stop. Remember that you own your life and your life is in your hands. If you don't remember anything today, remember that your life is in your hands. So every time you transit from one position or location to another, remember that your life is in your hands. Thank you so much once again, Dr. Mercy, and all the active listeners.
Tunde, thank you so much for everything that you have shared. I know 1 hour is not enough, but I am grateful that everything that you have shared, I personally will take them to heart. It's so empowering. The last thing you said about the fact that we are in control of our lives, that is so powerful and so empowering. Nobody has the power to determine what we want to be in life. There is no village person who has enough power to stop anything we want to be in life, okay? Yes, it is important to have those people in your life who can tell you the truth in love. They are not telling you what they think you need to hear. They are telling you the truth in love. So while you need mentors, you need accountability partners.
I'm going to add to what you just said. Your accountability partner will tell you the truth, even though you are not going to take it. They will drop it at your doorstep. When you are ready, you pick it up.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah, when you're ready, you take it.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank
much,
you,
all.
boss.
Thank you so much, all. Thank you. Yes, until we invite you for one of these our chat series again, have a good evening and enjoy the remaining part of your Sunday and have a good week ahead.